Now in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how you make this layer cake portal quilt using, obviously it's in the name, a layer cake and a little bit of background fabric. Let's get started. Now the very first thing that we're going to do is dive on into the quilt behind us and explain it out just a little bit. Now as you can see here, they're very segmented blocks with a little bit of stashing and a cornerstone. Super simple, but let's break it down even a little bit further. So we've got 4 of the same block all the way around. Half square triangle, a couple 2.5 inch squares. Now we repeat that 4 times over. That gives us all of our corners here. As far as the center, pretty much just stashing it with a cornerstone. Same thing that we're going to be doing all the way around at the end. Now in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the block, and then you can finish off with stashing if you choose to, or you might want to throw borders on it, however you like to. That's up to you. So let's dive into the cutting instructions next. And we need to separate it into 2 equal piles. Now the only reason why we're making this separation is if we go back to the quilt, you can realize that there's 2 different prints per block. So we just have to make sure that we're not accidentally putting the same print twice. So what I'm going to do is, because this is already pretty much separated by colors, I'm going to take like my light range tones and my yellows, probably to about right-ish there. Those are all lights. And some more darks here. Now that we have 2 different stacks here, group 1 and group 2, they receive different cuts. Let's break it down. Group 1 we're going to cut into 5-inch squares. Then we're going to subcut 2 of those 5-inch squares to be 2.5 inches. So that means we'll end up with 8 2.5-inch squares and 2 5-inch squares. Then from group 2, we're going to be cutting a 6.5-inch strip, subcutting that down into 4 2.5 by 6.5-inch strips. And then we need 1 2-inch square. That way we have our little cornerstones all throughout. Then from there, we're gonna need our background fabric. Now, there's not very many cuts out of background fabric. I'm using a nice kind of dusty bluish color there. What we'll need to cut from this is 2.5-inch strips that we will be subcutting down to make our sashing. In addition to that, we need some 5-inch squares to make up the half square triangles. Then we need some 2.5-inch squares to add on to our prints in our blocks. So super easy cut down. We're gonna go through it one by one. Now for the tutorial, I'm gonna use a nice yellow. I thought I saw one down here with the bees. And then from group 2, let's match it with some of that nice purple there. So from group 1, we're gonna cut it to be a 5-inch square. And then I'm essentially going to stack these on top of each other and make one more cut to turn them into 5-inch squares. So we've got our 5-inch squares. Again, we have to subcut these into 4 2-inch squares. Just like that, I've got my 2.5-inch squares, my 2 5-inch squares. Now for this one, I'm gonna cut 2.5-inch strips by 6.5. So what I want to do in this case, because I need 4 of them, that equals 10. So I'm gonna cut 6.5-inch strip and then subcut it down, and then I'll cut out my 2.5-inch squares after that. Subcut this down to 2.5-inch strips. I've got my 2.5-inch squares. Now up here I need 1 2.5-inch square. Now this 2.5-inch square is going to make up my little cornerstones throughout my project. So this then is considered waste in this project. However, it's a good piece of fabric. We can use it for something else, or we can even splice this into our binding all the way around if we so choose. But I'm gonna set this aside now. For my background print, what we're gonna go ahead and do here is cut us off some 2.5-inch strips, which we'll be subcutting those into our stashing pieces, which I'm gonna wait until the end for that. That way, if I have any variation in my block, I can adjust from there. But I do need some 2.5-inch squares and some 5-inch squares as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those now. So I've got my 2-inch squares. Now it's time to cut my 5-inch squares. I only need 2 of them for the block that I'm making right now. Okay, so now at this point, it's time to start making up our half square triangles. So I'm gonna pull in my group 1 blocks, which are these and these. And then below it, I'm gonna add my group 2 blocks just so we can see everything cut out. And you can see how there's a lot of uniform sizes here. So it's gonna be super easy to put together, but I do have to make my half square triangles. Now, I'm gonna take 2 of my background pieces. I'm gonna take 2 of my print pieces. You can draw a line diagonally across them. I like the fold over method. Then we're gonna be putting these right sides together. We're gonna cut directly down our fold line there. Same thing here. You need to square these up however way you like to do it. I use the Clearly Perfect Slide trimmer ruler, and we're squaring these to be 4.5 inch squares. So 4.5 inch half square triangles. Now it's time to start pretty much assembling this block. So what we have to do, we have to pair off 2 of our 2.5 inch squares, background and a print. And then I need to make one background, print, background. And fatal mistake here that we don't want to make, that goes just like that. So these 2 together, these 3 together, then sew it on to that. We'll repeat that 4 times. So these are all my 2 pieces. I'm going to cut them apart from each other, iron them up. I'm going to open up the seams because that's what I like to do. I feel like it gives us the best result. And I'm going to sew all my 3 pieces together as well. Okay, so now we're going to assemble our blocks that go all the way around. So now I'm going to add on my 3 pieces to the ones I've already sewn. So just like that. So now we've finished up kind of the mini blocks that go inside of our main block here. It's time to finish up the main block. Super easy to do. I'm going to put them out so that way all of the yellow is pointing outwards. And then I'm going to just add in my pieces here. And I've got a center blue square. But before we finish up this block, just a friendly reminder, guys, to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It's free to do. In addition to that, this quilt has a free PDF download of all the instructions that you can get down in the description below. And while you're down there, you might as well check out the membership that we have here on YouTube and sewyaquilting.com. We have thousands of products, lots of content, so make sure you check those out, and let's get back to the project. Now, I like to do things in rows, just how I am. So I'm gonna make this a row, center row, bottom row, and we're gonna sew the whole thing together, right sides together, 1/4 inch seams. And guys, just like that, our quilt block is complete. It is a beautiful block, very easy to make, and most of all, pre-cut friendly. We all love a nice pre-cut friendly pattern, which again, down in the description below, you can go ahead and download it for yourself. But the finishing touches on this is exactly how you guys want to do it. It looks amazing if you want to just connect blocks together. If you want to add the sashing and the keystone, make sure you follow the instructions that are found in the pattern. But additionally, it is the same sashing that we found in our block, just in a bigger format. So you guys are got this. It's super easy to do, and maybe if you want to throw a little border all the way around, you could do that as well. And now with that, if you like today's video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. But while you're on the website downloading this pattern for free, you might as well check out our layer cake selection. Hundreds of different options to choose from all the many brands that you know and love. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one right here at Sew Yeah Quilting.